Good afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, the Division of Graduate Education and Postdoctoral Affairs Commencement Ceremony of the University of California, San Diego is called to order. You can cheer. My name is James Anthony. I'm Dean of the Division of Graduate Education and Postdoctoral Affairs, and with me on stage are, in no particular order, Executive Vice Chancellor of Academic Affairs, Elizabeth H. Simmons, Senior Associate Dean of the Division, Judy Kim. Behind me, this really wonderful group of academic department and program chairs, or the representatives. Everybody wave. Alumni speaker, Albert Yumin Lin. And student speaker, Julia Corno. And now I really want you to cheer loudly. Seated with the students are their advisors, their faculty advisors. Now, I'm excited to congratulate and celebrate today's graduates from each of UC San Diego's graduate programs. As I've said, congratulations on your graduation. Frankly, I'm thrilled that we can be here in person celebrating your graduation. And as you know, a little about the last few years has been normal. But these things remain true in my book. You have accomplished a great deal. These accomplishments are worthy of recognition, and we intend to celebrate you today. So before we get formally started, let's have you let out a loud cheer for yourselves as a way of getting started with the celebration. Let's hear it. Now, as you probably can agree with me, nothing worth anything in this life is done in isolation all by yourselves, and there are people in these stands here who are an important part of your cheer group, your celebratory group, your support network. So let's cheer all of the people in your network who helped you accomplish what you did here today. Each of you has completed the requirements for a graduate degree, and what's obvious to anybody who knows you is that you have worked hard to complete this degree. You've taken advanced courses, and for many of you, pushed the boundaries of knowledge in your respective fields and disciplines. The value of this degree to you as an individual is evident, but what might not be evident to the rest of the world is why your earning of this degree is valuable to the rest of the world. The truth is, no advanced society can function well without the creative thinking and work of individuals who hold graduate degrees. Think about it for a minute. The clean water that people drink, the municipal infrastructure that we all use every day, the medical devices, drugs, and procedures people benefit from, the computing and internet technologies that are so ubiquitous in our daily lives, the art, the music, and dramatic productions that we all enjoy, the schools that our children learn in, and now, more than ever, the biomedical advances in public health policies that have been guiding us and will continue to guide us through the pandemic. All of these things are possible because individuals like you, people with advanced graduate training, made these things a reality. My message to you is simple. Your achievement of a graduate degree is not just an individual honor that we celebrate today. Your achievement now places you at the center of an illustrious group of individuals whose work directly benefits the daily lives of millions of people. An advanced society is fueled by the work and creativity of those with advanced graduate degrees, and we celebrate all that you have achieved, and we anticipate eagerly the many ways you're going to continue to contribute to the world as UC San Diego alumni. So again, congratulations. Now, it's my honor to introduce my colleague and good friend, the Executive Vice Chancellor of UC San Diego, Elizabeth H. Simmons. Dr. Elizabeth H. Simmons is the Executive Vice Chancellor and a Distinguished Professor of Physics. As the Chief Academic Officer of this university, she strives to advance UC San Diego's mission as a student-centered, research-focused, service-oriented public university so that every student graduates ready to succeed in our diverse and complex world. Elizabeth.
Well, thanks very much, Dean Anthony. It's such a pleasure to be here with all of you today. I think back 32 years to when I was sitting in chairs like these, waiting to get my PhD awarded. And so I can think back to what it meant to spend those years engaged in not just learning, but discovery and creative work of the kind that you have been doing. Not many people in this world will follow the path that you have followed to pursue the highest degree, the terminal degree in knowledge and creation, and really follow the life of the scholar. So my hat is off to you for what you have done and what you have spent time doing these last several or more years. Now I have to try to put the hat on. You've traveled many different paths to get to these chairs and get to this moment, which is wonderful. And I hope that you do take a little time to share with one another during the celebrations and remember that. I know that you've gone through a lot in keeping your intellectual work on track, given all that's been going on in the world. I don't need to remind you of what's been going on in the world. You know it. And so your dedication in completing advanced degrees is just remarkable. And at the same time as you were completing, really achieving your educational dreams and your scholarly dreams, you've also helped your colleagues, your peers, the faculty who are sitting with you to achieve some of their intellectual goals as well. And in doing so, you have been shaping the present and the future of the university. You are the future of the academy and the future of intellectual life in this country. So this is a huge moment, but it's also the start of a future where I hope that you will come back to UC San Diego and keep sharing with these colleagues who are with you over the years what you've been up to and what you've been inventing and creating. So go out into the world, but don't forget us and come back often. Congratulations.
Thank you, EVC Simmons. I'd now like to introduce the student speaker for today's ceremony, Julia Corno. Julia is president of the Graduate and Professional Student Association here at the university and is also a PhD student in the Department of Political Science. She received her Bachelor of, you could cheer, that's good. She received her Bachelor of Science degree in Neuroscience and her Bachelor of Arts in Political Science from the University of Southern California in 2020. Welcome, Julia.
Hello, everyone. Graduates, friends, family, faculty, staff, members of the UCSD administration, alumni, and those of you joining us online. Congratulations to the class of 2022. My name is Julia Corno. I'm a second-year PhD student here in the Political Science Department, and I am, will have been your GPSA president. I am honored to have been invited to speak to you all today, and I am so glad that we finally have the opportunity to gather together in person to celebrate the hard work of each and every member of our graduating class. They truly deserve it and are to be commended. Congratulations once again. So, I have to be honest. While I was preparing to write this speech, I was at a bit of a loss for what to write about. So many difficult things have happened in the past few years alone, from the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic to refugee crises to the most recent tragic shootings, including those in New York, California, and Texas. It has felt at times that we were all uncertain about how to carry on when so much of the world feels dark and hope is seemingly overshadowed by heartbreak. For some of us, that heartbreak is directly tied to attacks on our identity, who we are, and what we wish the world to see us as. In the face of that, wouldn't any speech I wrote feel frivolous or maybe trivial? But I want to focus on what has gotten me and many others through the heartbreak and what gives me hope every single day. My communities. Yes, communities, plural. Each one special in its own way. My friends, my family, my fellow cohort mates, my fellow members of the GPSA, the wider UCSD community, and the communities tied to each of my identities. Each of the people I hold close have helped me and supported me, listened to me, given me a shoulder to lean on, and yes, sometimes to cry on. Without them, I wouldn't be where I am today. I know many, if not all, of my friends feel the same way. I hope that all of you can relate. I want to delve a little deeper into the concept of community. What is community? The Merriam-Webster dictionary, and yes, I'm quoting the dictionary, don't judge me, says that a community is, quote, a unified body of individuals, end quote. For some of us, it's narrowly defined. The people we talk to every single day, or maybe just the closest members of our family. For others of us, the concept is much broader, an amalgamation of people who share our experiences or our desires or our creativity in a particular way. There is something in a community that ties all of its members together, a single strand that carries through and weaves together each member within its web. But more than that, I think what defines community is love. It is a place where you feel celebrated, a space that you feel you can retreat to, where you feel like you can share your successes and not be brought down with competitive snideness for trying to grasp everything that life offers, where you are given the space to be yourself to the fullest extent possible, where you might see shaking heads when you stumble, but where you will also always find hands reaching out to you to help you back up, where you can mourn together, heal together, sing together, celebrate together, love together. I hope that all of you in your time at UCSD were able to find that in one way or another. I hope that you had someone by your side that you knew you could rely on and that you knew you could go to in times of crisis. But most especially, I hope that each and every one of you knows that there is a community out there for you, even if you have not found it yet. There is a place for you here, there, somewhere that will welcome you with open arms and celebrate every part of who you are. I hope that all of you will go on in your careers, your lives, your futures, with the knowledge that even if you grow out of your old communities, you will find new ones waiting for you. Or maybe your communities will grow and change with you. Who knows? Whatever happens, know that you will find your community and your community will find you. I also want to emphasize, while I'm up here, that as much as a community might already exist before we arrive, we also have the power to shape the community in the way that we see fit. So, not only do I encourage you to find your community and to celebrate it, and to allow it to celebrate you, I also encourage you to ask yourself, what makes you so comfortable in a particular community? How can you make sure that the comfort you find in your community extends to others who may not yet have found theirs, or who are not yet celebrated and embraced as they should be in the communities that they are told they should be a part of? As you build these little worlds among worlds, I also challenge you to think about how we, as a global community, we might say, can use the concept of community to build a world that is more inviting, more genuine, more allowing of spaces of healing and of shared experience, and more willing to face what is needed to bring about a reckoning with injustice. A community might be a place where we retreat and regroup, but it should not be a space where we hide. With a community or two or three behind us, we can change the world. So with that, class of 2022, I bid you adieu. But don't get me wrong, I'm Italian, not French, and I do choose that community quite carefully, so maybe I really should say I bid you ciao ciao. Find yourself, find your community, and go forth and bring good to the future of this world. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Julia. Now I would like to introduce our commencement speaker for today's ceremony, Dr. Albert Yumin Lin. Dr. Lin is an award-winning research scientist, technologist, National Geographic explorer, and storyteller. His work to reinvent how we explore has made headlines around the world, merging adventure with innovation. His projects range from an effort to search for the tomb of Genghis Khan in Mongolia, to expeditions remapping major sites from the deserts of Jordan to the jungles of Guatemala, to his most recent efforts to redefine human bionic capabilities through three-dimensional prosthetics. As a former engineering student himself, Albert believes that innovation, curiosity, and grit are the ingredients of great exploration. With this in mind, he launched the NSF-funded Engineers for Exploration program at UC San Diego back in 2010, which has sent hundreds of top engineering students from across the country into field expeditions around the globe. We are honored to have Albert here with us today. Please join me in welcoming him.
Whew. Doctors, masters as well, MFAs out there. Wow. Commencement speaker. It's like, this is kind of a masochistic thing to volunteer for on its own, any degree level, but this is the PhD, the doctoral, the MFA, the terminal degree closer. This is the finale on your entire formal education path. Yeah, that's a little pressure, First of all, we know that you're all incredibly smart. That's what the new suffix at the end of your name tells us, right? Yeah, that's gonna be a good one. I can already hear all the email signatures being edited right now. And then I'm supposed to stand in front of you all and also many of my former peers and colleagues and pontificate about some kind of wisdom, and that's pretty much when you cue the imposter syndrome megaphone right into my ear. It's like, whoa, okay, how do you do that? I spent this last week really just trying to think about inspirational things, right? Like what I would bring to this table or to this stage. It's been really weird. It's almost like everything around me has become like an inspirational quote. Like my mind is stuck in some infinite cat poster of reality. But, it's a commencement speech. How much of this are we going to remember? I don't even really remember many of my own commencement speeches, I have to admit. But I think the only piece of advice that I ever remember from any commencement speech was from not my own, but my sister's, my older sister's, when she was in high school. I was, I think, in middle school. And I just remember the person saying something to the effect of, stay in school as long as you possibly can and try to get somebody else to pay for it. I think you guys took that one quite literally, just like I did. It's like, okay, hopefully. I guess it's pretty wild. You might follow that advice all the way to the end, and now you have. There's no more degrees to get. So what's next? It's like a cliff, right? It almost feels like you're standing at the edge of a void. I guess the best thing I can do is just recall how it felt for me. It was scary. It was really scary, right? I remember that night, it was 14 years ago, I left this very gymnasium. We had a big party. I know you guys might tonight as well. There might be a lot of parties tonight. I've hung out in the MFA studios before. It gets pretty crazy. I remember we got a slip and slide, very distinguished. I think there is photo evidence somewhere out there of me sliding across it, mooning my mom in gratitude. Yeah, not my proudest moment. Maybe that's a good time for us to further acknowledge all our mothers and fathers out there. Yes. Look, nothing happens in a vacuum. It's been said before. It's true. Nothing happens in a vacuum. And everyone in this gymnasium and the stands and many beyond are part of this journey, right? From the mentors who've put everything into this, all their hearts, from your parents, your brothers, your sisters, your grandparents. This is a multi-generational dream coming to a head right now. I think of my own student. I actually have a student that's walking across today too, Isaac. His grandfather immigrated to this country at the age of 30. He was an indigenous Mayan, and he worked his entire life as a janitor to support his family. That life sacrifice is going to be walking across this stage today. That's incredible. Look, I know that each one of you will probably have somebody like that you're thinking about right now. Make sure you tell them thank you, right? Being a father of two myself now, I think they're here somewhere. I don't know where my kids are. I've been looking for them the whole time. But being a father of two, I just know how much love is just pouring down from those bleachers onto you graduates today. The pride, the joy. I hope for my own sake that when my kids realize their dreams, whatever that might be, that they'll think of something more appropriate than mooning me while they slip and slide across the lawn to thank me. I'm sure they will. But look, this is a time of celebration. It's a time of transformation. This is a ceremony to accept that transformation in your brain, to make your brain believe it. It's disorienting. I remember for me, it was really scary. I remember my sister sent me this cardstock, this box of stationery, really fancy stationery with my name on it, and it had PhD written in the end. I was like, what do I do with this? I felt the imposter syndrome maybe for the first time sinking in. What could I do with my new credential that would be worthy of this incredible stationery? It was like, for real, I was scared. It was like, it was almost like if I failed at doing something excellent, then it would be worse than if I hadn't gotten the degree in the first place. So maybe that's, where this speech gets its first little life advice nugget, right? It's better to focus on what you want than what you don't want. I know that sounds simplistic, but it's a big one. I mean, I was sitting there, I was freaking out about falling flat, and then my friend Poyu, I remember my lab mate, he asked me for coffee, and he just asked, he's like, what would you say to your inner self? What does your inner child want to do at this point if you don't really have to answer to any more of those external expectations? And I really thought about that. I was like 25-something years of following the rules. I want to do something different. I want an adventure. I was like, what does my inner child say it wants? It wants to be the romantic notion of an explorer. Yeah, I'm going to do something about that. I made a plan. I was like a kid sketching out, like a mission in a tree house. I literally wrote down this plan and pinned it up. It was something to the effect of step 1, get satellites, drones, radars, collaborators, permissions. Step 2, launch high-tech expedition into the remote wilderness of Mongolia. Step 3, find the tomb of Genghis Khan and change our understanding of history. Step 0, the step before all that, sell everything I own, move into my car, and then try to raise money to do that? I mean, look at that, like a newly minted PhD in my car less than a month after I graduate. My mom was not very impressed. I'm not saying that's what anybody else here should do, it's just a personal experience. But it was incredible. I mean, it was really incredible. It was like being alive for the first time, I mean, it sounded like a ridiculous notion, but the more I talked about it, the more people took me seriously. Academia is incredible. You might think of it as conservative, but actually everybody here are rebels of thought. I found fertile ground here to just keep talking about it. My peers, my friends that were still in graduate school, they would help out. My colleagues, the people that became my colleagues, they would encourage me. Some of the same people sitting here today, you guys know who you are. And one thing led to another. Friends started getting involved, articles got written, meetings got made. I was just blown away by how much that little suffix at the end of my name, that cardstock stationery, got me, right? It went so far to the point in which one day I was invited to the headquarters of the National Geographic Society, this storied building with, the likes of Jane Goodall and Bob Ballard pinned up on the walls. And I remember in the old wing there was an office of one of the original founders, Alexander Graham Bell. There was still a little telephone there. It didn't work. It was surprising to me. There was like an office called up high somewhere called the Explorer's Den. I just remember finding all these journals and lab books and bear traps and all sorts of weird stuff. And there was this guy that was sort of squatting there. He had made a little camp in the building with a stove and a sleeping bag. I was like, this looks just like my car. I fit in great. I know it sounds ridiculous, but 14 years later, that leap of faith, getting friends to support me, all of it, has led to a life that I'm so grateful for. I've traveled the world on behalf of National Geographic. I've lived as a titled explorer. I'm being the inner child. And when I really look back at it, maybe the weirdest part, maybe the most surprising part was that it was just one long game of chicken with reality. It's like the whole time I was thinking, is anybody gonna find out that I'm a phony? Like, when are they gonna find out? The degree I got was in material science. It was in biological materials. It had absolutely nothing to do with what I was trying to build at the time. Look, I just put on a good poker face, and it worked. And I think that's kind of the secret that nobody tells you at first. You don't really want to admit it. The credentials that you're about to get, they're kind of for anything you want them to be for. It's really a brand. It's like a statement of qualification, but you can almost wield it in any direction you choose to now. I'm not saying be light about it, but there's really only, and I'm not saying your work wasn't important, but there's only like maybe a handful of people in the world that'll ever understand what your theses are really about, right? It's like so smart, right? Look, I'm not saying use your diploma every time you go to Home Depot to say, I'm an expert. That would just be weird. What I mean is that after 25-something years of school, of education, learning, your real expertise is not limited to the subject of the last 2 to 4 years, but rather the process of discovery itself. You know? These advanced, these terminal degrees, the very end of the road, they're only given when you show the fortitude to learn everything you can about something, to navigate the unexpected, to forge a path beyond, and to get new knowledge for everybody. When you're at the frontier, when you're somewhere that nobody has been before, then everyone is a phony. You know, it's like we're all just trying to figure this out, how it all works, how everything operates. And I think instinctively, we all know that we are facing a world that is a little bit more precarious than we want to admit. And we need you. More than ever, the brightest minds in the world, I mean, really, like the very top percent, to help us navigate the uncharted waters ahead, to help us find that new knowledge. I mean, maybe that's what being an explorer is really about. It's about being willing to face the uncertainty of the unknown, stare down that imposter syndrome that comes along with it, and choose the more adventurous of two options. Step up. I guess that's what your degree is really saying you have a credential to do. This is a room full of explorers. Yeah, there's a little whoop there. Explorers! Look, I want to wrap up. I was only given 10 minutes to try to pontificate life thoughts, and it's pretty intense. But I had a moment the other day where I talked to my own PhD advisor from when I got hooded. His name is Mark Myers. I said, what am I going to say? And he just sort of sits back with this really cool Brazilian style. And in Spanish, he gives me this quote by the guy named Antonio Machado. And it goes, I'm going to butcher this, but it goes, Caminante no hay camino, si así camino al andar. Anybody know what that means? It means traveler. There is no road. You make the road as you walk. So graduates, congratulations on going the distance. I mean, really going the distance. Because on this day, the 11th of June, 2022, you will walk across this stage and take your place amongst the explorers of our future. Tomorrow, once you've cleaned up all the slip and slides and hit all the evidence, I hope that you take the time to sit down, to pause, to focus on what you really want deep down inside, what your child inner self says it wants. Write down a plan and pin it on the wall, because this world needs the authentic you. School is officially out forever. And it is time to author the next chapter of your life. Thank you very much.
I love that notion of being explorers. Thank you so much for those wonderful words of wisdom, Albert. Thank you. All right. Who wants to graduate? I now proceed to the presentation of graduate degree recipients portion of this ceremony. Just so you know, photographs of the ceremony will be available. I sound like an ad right now, excuse me. They will be available from Grad Images. Family and friends are welcome to take photographs during the reception. For safety reasons, I'd like to remind everybody to please refrain from walking down the stairs or onto the arena floor. We don't want anybody to get injured. We commend these students for completing the degree requirements necessary for achieving the highest awarded degree in their chosen academic field, and we honor them today. So the graduates who we are recognizing at this ceremony have earned the degrees of Doctor of Education, Master of Fine Arts, and Doctor of Philosophy. All right, people, we're going to have to bear with each other because this is a lot of fun we're about to do here. All graduates are going to be hooded during this ceremony. Graduates, some last school instructions for you. When you come up to the stage, you're going to do like a little Harry Potter kind of moment here where we're going to have you sit on a seat and we're going to put the sorting hat on you. No. Actually, what's going to happen is you're going to sit in this seat here to the right of me, and as you walk across the stage, and your hooding advisor or advisors will then secure your hood while you're seated. Please don't be in a huge hurry. Okay, let's do it right. Let's get the good pictures, etc. Recipients of the degree Doctor of Education, will you please rise? We recognize today those graduate students who have completed a program of study leading to the Doctor of Education. We commend you for having completed your degree. Our new Doctors of Education will come forward to the left of the stage to be recognized when their name is called. Representing the Department of Education Studies, please welcome Professor Chris Halter.
Alexandria Hunter, hooded by Dr. Teresa Jean Ambo. Julia Martinez, hooded by Dr. Ambo. Barame Pepper Anan, hooded by Teresa Ambo. Felicia Renee Singleton, hooded by Dr. Ambo. Denise Catherine Meduli Williams, hooded by Dr. Teresa Ambo. Dean Rockwell, hooded by Chris Halter. Jose Antolin Delgado Diaz, also hooded by Dr. Christopher Halter. Melody Bazyar, hooded by Christopher Halter. Michelle Borelli, hooded by Dat Now. We will now recognize graduates from the next department.
Recipients of the degree Master of Fine Arts, will you please rise? Today we recognize these graduates who've completed a program of study leading to the Master of Fine Arts. We commend them for having completed the degree. Representing the Department of Visual Arts, please welcome Professor Lisa Cartwright.
Abdul Hamid Kircher, hooded by Lisa Cartwright. Matthew Taylor Williams. We will now recognize graduates from the next department.
Recipients of the degree Doctor of Philosophy, please rise. Representing the Department of Anthropology, please welcome Professor Suzanne Brenner. I would also like to recognize Lauren Jean Nippolt as being a recipient of the Chancellor's Dissertation Medal. So let's congratulate Lauren for that too when she comes.
Julia Catherine Sloan, hooded by Suzanne Brenner. Ellen Elizabeth Kozelka. Lauren Jean Nippolt, hooded by Suzanne Brenner. Brady James Liss, hooded by Thomas E. Levy. Matthew David Howland, hooded by Thomas Levy. We will now recognize graduates from the next department.
And these will be the graduates from the Department of Bioengineering. And I welcome Professor Adam Engler.
Zenon Chen, hooded by Francisco Contijoc. Avi Kumar, hooded by Christian Metallo. Nika Tagdiri, hooded by Adam Engler. Alexander Whitehead, hooded by Adam Engler. Julia Alexandra Kudreshev, hooded by Esther Kwan. Yash Muntry, hooded by Jesse V. Jokerst. Miranda Danae Diaz, hooded by Karen Christman. Holly Lynn Sullivan, hooded by Karen Christman. Pamela Duran, hooded by Karen Christman and Mariana Halperin. Benjamin Yeoman, hooded by Adam Engler. Michael Hu, hooded by Adam Engler. Norman Luong, hooded by Adam Engler. Shulin Chow, hooded by Adam Engler. We will now recognize graduates from the next department.
I keep getting stuck in my chair there. If you all see me fall, just feel free to laugh. Okay, we are now going to do the Department of Bioinformatics and System Biology, and please welcome Professor Terry Gasterlin.
Daniela Nachmanson, hooded by Terry Gasterlin. Idahi Gonzalez Avalos, hooded by Anjana Rao. Andrea Bridget Castro, hooded by Hannah Carter. Jingchan Zhou, hooded by Terry Gasterland. George Wesley Armstrong, hooded by Terry Gasterlin. We will now recognize graduates from the next department.
Hello, testing. Okay, there we are. Biological Sciences, Professor Eric Bennett.
Nathan David Palmer, hooded by Eric Bennett. Daniela Samaniguero Castrueda, hooded by Anjana Rao. Danielle Marie Garshut, hooded by Eric J. Bennett. Sung Yung Blenda Yu, hooded by Gulsin Pekernaz. Hannah Megan Strobel, hooded by Justin Meyer. Alexander Theodore Nye, hooded by Kostov Roy. Elizabeth Marie Bullard, hooded by Kostov Roy. Jiayi Dong, hooded by Li Fan Lu. Regina Marie Powers, hooded by Shelley Halpane. Hanqing Liu, hooded by Eric Bennett. Andres Jose Navarez, hooded by Eric Bennett. Daniel Thomas Johnson, hooded by Eric Bennett. Tina Chia-Ting Chang, hooded by Eric Bennett. Kaito Kikuchi, hooded by Eric Bennett. We will now recognize graduates from the next department.
The program in Biomedical Sciences. Welcome to Professor Kevin Corbett.
Jad Nabi Kanbar, hooded by Kevin Corbett. Kira Ann Podolsky, hooded by Kevin Corbett. Michael Yoon, hooded by Kevin Corbett. Angeline Chen, hooded by Hilda Charot. Victoria Wu, hooded by Silvio Gutkind. Nadia Arang, hooded by Silvio Gutkind. Kayla Ann Pilo, hooded by Kevin Corbett. Joshua Thomas Lang, hooded by Kevin Corbett. Meghana Sai Pagadala, hooded by Hannah Carter. We will now recognize graduates from the next department.
And these are the graduates from Chemical Engineering. Please welcome Professor Jesse Jokers and Darren Lipomi.
Moses Nathaniel Coder, hooded by Darren Lipomi. Tae-Woo Kim, hooded by Jesse Jokerst. Beryl Polat, hooded by Darren Lipomi. Rory Runser, hooded by Darren Lipomi. Isaac Quitting Sit, hooded by Dr. Vicky Gracian. We will now recognize graduates from the next department.
And this is the Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry. Please join me in welcoming Professor Vicky Gracian.
Christy G. Hyun, hooded by Vicky Gracian. Brock Andrew Mitz, hooded by Vicky Gracian. Joshua Katungal Corpus, hooded by Vicky Gracian. Ember Murray Tota, hooded by Vicky Gracian. Judith Flores, hooded by Vicky Gracian. Vico Ya, hooded by Vicky Gracian. Gary Edward Arevalo, hooded by Emmanuel Theodorakis. Eleftherios Lambros, hooded by Francesco Paisani. Kelly Marie Hunter, hooded by Francesco Paisani. Karik Ralapili, hooded by Alexis Kumar and Francesco Paisani. Bryce Eric Ackerman, hooded by Galia de Bulaccini. Matthew Du, hooded by Joel Yen Zhao. Jackson Cole Wagner, hooded by Wei Xiong. Sean Cameron Purcell, hooded by Vicky Gracian. Austin Larsick Mahalik, hooded by Vicky Gracian. George Saman, hooded by Vicky Gracian. We will now recognize graduates from the next department.
Representing the Clinical Psychology Joint Doctoral Program with San Diego State University, please join me in welcoming Professors Lauren Brookman-Frazee and Vanessa McClarney.
Annie Reyes, hooded by Carrie McDonald. Sanjbil Mahmood, hooded by Elizabeth Twomley. Lindsay Alexandra Olson, hooded by Ina Fishman. Wei Ming Watson, hooded by Igor Grant. Maria Amelia Kryza Lacombe, hooded by Jillian Lee Wiggins. April Chelsea May, hooded by Susan Tappert. Robert Clayton Lyons, hooded by Lauren Brookman Fraze. Patricia Klimek, hooded by Vanessa McCarney.
We will now recognize graduates from the next department.
These are the graduates from the Department of Cognitive Science. Please welcome Professor Natasha Ashimov.
Amy Ray Fox, hooded by Nadir Wabel. Robert John Lufnan, hooded by Natasha Akshumov. Amanda Song, hooded by Natasha Akshumov. Julia Anna Adrian, hooded by Natasha Akshumov. We will now recognize graduates from the next department.
And these are the graduates from the Department of Communication. Please welcome Professor Dan Hallen.
Manel Palos Pons, hooded by Daniel C. Hallen. Christina Oshana, hooded by Alana Zilberg. Thomas Hartnell Connor, hooded by David Serlin. We will now recognize graduates from the next department.
And these will be the graduates from the Department of Computer Science and Engineering. Please welcome Professor Dion Stefan. I would also like to recognize An Zhang as being a recipient of the Chancellor's Dissertation Medal. Congratulations, An.
Yao Yuan Yang, hooded by Kamalika Chaudhuri. Khalil Marini, hooded by Dian Stefan. Mario McElvray Alvarez, hooded by Ranjit Jala. Justin Lazaro, hooded by Dian Stefan. Wei Jane Shu, hooded by Dian Stefan. Hengyu Zhao, hooded by Dian Stefan. Uyen To Mai, hooded by Dian Stefan. Alexander Manuel Gamero Garrido, hooded by Alex Snoren. Rana Alotaibi, hooded by Alan Deutsch. Supun Chathuranga Nakandala, hooded by Arun Kumar. Varaj Paragbai Shah, hooded by Arun Kumar. Poya Su, hooded by Chung Kwang Cheng. Sanjay Kaligi, hooded by Dian Stefan. Shravan Ravanaranan, hooded by Dian Stefan. Lee Xiong Ao, hooded by Jeffrey Volker. Gautam Akiwete, hooded by Jeffrey Volker. Priyam Parashar, advisor Dr. Henry Iskov Christensen. An Zhang, hooded by Melissa Jimrek. Stephen Robert Rick, hooded by Nadir Weibel. Benjamin Saunders Pullman, hooded by Nuno Bandera. Mohammed Kazem Taram, hooded by Dean Tolson. Craig Ryan DeSalcone, hooded by Dion Stefan and Dean Tolson. Diman Sengupta, hooded by Rajesh Gupta. We will now recognize graduates from the next department.
Representing the Department of Economics, please welcome Professor Valerie Ramey.
Jia Nan Yang, hooded by Valerie Ramey. Ziyong Jiang, hooded by Valerie Ramey. Pietro Emilio Spini, hooded by Valerie Ramey. Jackson Chandler Summers, hooded by Mark Jacobson. Alyssa Ashley Brown, hooded by Prashant Bharadwaj. Arushi Kaushik, hooded by Prashant Bharadwaj. Jacob Douglas Orchard, hooded by Valerie Ramey. Mitchell Scott Van Vuren, hooded by Valerie Ramey. Yanying Shen, hooded by Valerie Ramey. Davide Viviano, hooded by Graham Elliott. We will now recognize graduates from the next department.
Representing the Department of Education Studies, please welcome Professor Chris Halter.
Kirk Douglas Rogers Jr., hooded by Chris Halter. Ramon L. Stevens, hooded by Chris Halter. Mariko Yoshisato KV, hooded by Amanda Datnow. Don't be shy. Maxie Gluckman, hooded by Amanda Datnow. Myra Puente, hooded by Francis Contreras. Catarina Arias Garcia, hooded by Francis Contreras. Brianna Rochelle Ramirez, hooded by Francis Contreras. We will now recognize graduates from the next department.
The Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering. Please join me in welcoming Professor Bill Lin.
David Kin Wai Ho, hooded by Bill Lin. Po Han Chiang, hooded by Bill Lin. Chu Yang Hong, hooded by Yuan Tuor. Chia Tong Ho, hooded by Chung Kwang Cheng. Dayu Lee, hooded by Chung Kwang Cheng. Nima Musavi, hooded by Melissa Jimrek. Florian Richter, hooded by Michael Yip. Akshay Rungesh, hooded by Professor Mohan M. Trivedi. Nashiket Prashant Dev, hooded by Mohan Trivedi. Liwan Chang, hooded by Paul KLU. Hani Nejad Renahini, Paul K.U., hooded. Naif Rafe Ashamrani, hooded by Yeshawahu Feynman. Lan Fong Nguyen, hooded by Yeshayahu Feynman. Sidru Zhang, hooded by Yeshayahu Feynman. Daryl E. Van Brown II, hooded by Vikash Gilja. Keore Anton Jean Cristo Poche, hooded by Drew Hall. Lee Gao, hooded by Drew Hall. Uz Kazan, hooded by Drew Hall. Siwei Lee, hooded by Drew Hall. Kevin Kaiwei Low, hooded by Drew Hall. Yunsheng Lee, hooded by Nuno Vasconcelos. Queta Liao, hooded by Virginia Desa. Mata Musavi, hooded by Virginia Desa. Demetrios Baltimus, hooded by Bill Lynn. Jay Zhang, hooded by Bill Lin. Mohammed Abu Rehan Mia, hooded by Bill Lin. Ray Tung, hooded by Bill Lin. Shin Lu, hooded by Bill Lin. We will now recognize graduates from the next department.
And these will be the graduates representing the Department of Ethnic Studies. Professor Judy Kim.
Esther Min Choi, hooded by Lily Irani. Cynthia Vasquez, hooded by Kay Wayne Yang. Keva X Bowie, hooded by Aaron Suzuki. We will now recognize graduates from the next department.
These are the graduates from the Department of History. Welcome, Professor Michael Provence.
Merna Mofid Kazman Wasef, hooded by Hassan Kayali. Joanna Lee Peterson, hooded by Michael Province and Hassan Kayali. Paul Kost Nikolai Cheer, hooded by Michael Province. Russell Allen Peck, hooded by Mark Hendrickson. Graham Mack, hooded by Rachel Klein. We will now recognize graduates from the next department.
And we've got the program of biostatistics from the Herbert Wertheim School of Public Health and Human Longevity Science. Please welcome Professor Florin Vaida.
Wenyi Lin, hooded by Armin Schwartzman. Yiren Zhang, hooded by Ranghu Zhu. Rufeng Chen, hooded by Karen Messer. Jin Yuan Liu, hooded by Florin Vaida. We will now recognize graduates from the next department.
Representing the program of Public Health from the Herbert Wertheim School of Public Health and Human Longevity Science, Professor David Strong.
Nicole Lee Neighbors, hooded by Richard Schaefer. Adam Xavier Mayhofer, hooded by David Strong. Haley Minay Siborowski, hooded by Holly Baker. Matthew David Stone, hooded by David Strong. We will now recognize graduates from the next department.
And these will be the graduates from the Department of Linguistics, Professor Sharon Rose.
Michael Obrijoboa, hooded by Sharon Rose. We will now recognize graduates from the next department.
This is the Department of Literature. Please welcome Professor Sal Nicolazzo.
Beatriz Asuncion Ramirez, hooded by Gloria Chacon. Hannah Grace Leno, hooded by Sal Nicolazzo. Eunice Sang-un Lee, hooded by Aaron Suzuki. Benjamin Troy Schumacher, hooded by Andrea LaCroix. We'll now recognize graduates from the next department.
This is the Department of Materials Science and Engineering, Professor Javier Garay.
Joshua Stephen Pels, hooded by Javier Garay. Kiwon O, hooded by Javier Garay. Xingjun Wu, hooded by Javier Garay. Hanju Lee, hooded by Ken Lo. Sikong Jiang, hooded by Kesong Yang. Melissa Marie Ledgerwood Lee, hooded by Javier Garay. Gaia Rigi, hooded by Javier Garay. Hongji Ah Hu, hooded by Javier Garay. Sean Nolan Garner, hooded by Javier Garay. Andrew Zhao, hooded by Javier Garay. Jessica Alexandra Sandoval, hooded by Michael Tully. Shuing Lee Quinn, hooded by Shirley Meng. We will now recognize graduates from the next department.
Math and Science Education Joint Doctoral Program with San Diego State University. Judy Kim will help out here.
Nicole Ashley Suarez, hooded by Stanley M. Lowe. We will now recognize graduates from the next department.
Department of Mathematics, Professor Jacques Verstraat.
Zilu Ma, hooded by Bennett Chow. Jiaqi Liu, hooded by Jason Schweinsberg. Suhan Cheong, hooded by Jiang Ni. Zray Zhang, hooded by Li Tian Cheng. Denise Rava, hooded by Ranghu Shu. Jason Michael O'Neill, hooded by Judy Kim. Daniel Kongsgaard, hooded by Judy Kim. Jeffrey Michael Gansberger, hooded by Judy Kim. Jorel Thomas Caparas Briones, hooded by Judy Kim. Unique Chang, hooded by Judy Kim. In just a second. He Jiang, hooded by Judy Kim. Xiao Wu Pan, hooded by Judy Kim. We will now recognize graduates from the next department.
Okay, this is a big one, folks. Department of Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering. Frank Talk.
Samuel Winjet Cordaro, hooded by Frank Talkie. Alicia Dahut Silva, hooded by Raymond A. DeCalifon. Young Shen Hu, hooded by Raymond DeCalifon. Kurt Arthur Talca, hooded by Thomas Bewley and Frank Talca. Pio Ong, hooded by Sonia Martinez. Gottlieb Hangula Wahengo, hooded by Javier Garay. Isaac Alfred Cabrera, hooded by Albert Lin.
Congratulations, very nice.
Elon Chen, hooded by Maurizio de Oliveira.
Isaac, congratulations from the department. Yes. Fantastic. I'm so happy to have you.
Yes, next Wednesday.
Yes.
Adriane Fernandez Minori, hooded by Michael Tolley.
Hey, congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
William Peter Hakes Westendocks, hooded by Michael Tolley. Saurav Jadhav, hooded by Michael Tolley.
Congratulations.
Todd Wilson Christopher, hooded by Stefan Llewellyn Smith.
Congratulations to you too. I know. Good job.
Shivam Chopra, hooded by Nick Gravish.
Congratulations. Congratulations to you too.
Wei Zhou, hooded by Nick Gravish.
Congratulations.
Jian Zhang, hooded by Renkun Chen.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Fantastic.
Imalayawa Abel, hooded by Miroslav Kristik. Amod Suresh, hooded by Sonia Martinez. Dan Lee, hooded by Sonia Martinez.
You lost it. Congratulations. Don't worry.
Alexander Bertino, hooded by Miroslav Kristik.
Congratulations. Congratulations to you too.
Joseph Robert Strelo, hooded by Frank Talkie.
Congratulations.
Yoon Jo, hooded by Frank Talkie. Nirjur Surkar, hooded by Frank Talkie. We will now recognize graduates from the next department.
Department of Music, please welcome Judy Kim.
Yoonjong Ko, hooded by Judy Kim. We will now recognize graduates from the next department.
Department of Nanoengineering, please welcome Professors Jesse Jokerst and Darren Lipomi.
Min Town, hooded by Darren Lipomi. Zihan Shu, hooded by Darren Lipomi. Kizang Yan, hooded by Darren Lipomi. Jail Rong Seo, hooded by Darren Lipomi. Xiangi Dong, hooded by Darren Lipomi. Lauren Elizabeth Wagoner, hooded by Esther Kwan. Coleman Arthur Moore, hooded by Jesse Jokerst. Yishuan Lee, hooded by Shirley Meng. Lu Yin, hooded by Shirley Meng. We will now recognize graduates from the next department.
Program of Neurosciences, please welcome Professor Brenda Bloodgood.
Katerina Pearsall Profaci, hooded by Richard Daneman. Xiang Shen Huang, hooded by Brenda Bloodgood. Nicole Cherie Hoffner, hooded by Brenda Bloodgood. We will now recognize graduates from the next department.
The Department of Philosophy, please welcome Professor Eric Watkins.
Claudie Brink, hooded by Eric Watkins. Joseph Thomas Stratman, hooded by Eric Watkins. Cami Esther Kepke, hooded by Reuven Brandt.
Don't wake the baby.
We will now recognize graduates from the next department.
The Department of Physics, please welcome Professor Brian Maple.
Chi-Chun Su, hooded by Adam Bergesser. Jennifer Chiemi Ito, hooded by Cam Arnold. Alexander John Bryandell, hooded by M. Brian Maple. Keelan Catherine Wilcom Hoke, hooded by Quinn Konopaki. Hongye Hu, hooded by Yingxiao Yu. Anamika Agrawal, hooded by Elena Koslover. Brian Robert Taylor, hooded by Brian Maple. Tapan Goel, hooded by Brian Maple. We will now recognize graduates from the next department.
The Department of Political Science, please welcome Professor Thad Kauser.
Rachel Jennifer Schoner, hooded by Christina Schneider. Gregoire Lauren Phillips, hooded by Claire Adida. Not Dang Doe, hooded by Marissa Abrahano and Thad Koser. We will now recognize graduates from the next department.
Scripps Institution of Oceanography, Professor Lahini Alawihari.
Bo J. DeRoser, hooded by Lahini Aluware. Camille Pagnello, hooded by Lahini Aluware. Paul Chamberlain, hooded by Lynn Talley. Nelly Maestas, hooded by Lahini Aluwari. We will now recognize graduates from the next department.
The Department of Sociology, Jeff Haidu.
Haley Marin McInnes, hooded by Jeff Haydu. Daniel Reagan Driscoll, hooded by Jeff Haydu. Colin Maxwell Burke, hooded by Kevin Lewis. We will now recognize graduates from the next department.
Department of Structural Engineering, Professor Kenneth Lowe.
Yi Chao Yang, hooded by Kenneth Lowe. Quan Po Lin, hooded by Robert Asaro.
It's backwards.
John Hyuk Bak, hooded by Kenneth Lowe. Morgan Lee Funderburk, hooded by Ken Lowe. Mohammed Syed, hooded by Kenneth Lowe.
Take care.
Shayani Vigas Gisolja, hooded by Hyuni Kim. Moonhee Nam, hooded by Hyuni Kim. Rodrigo Enrique Chavez Morales, hooded by Hyuni Kim. Paulina Diaz Montiel, hooded by Hyuni Kim. We will now recognize graduates from the next department.
All right, let's hear it. These are the last two. Department of Visual Arts, Professor Lisa Cartwright.
Vanessa Mae Bateman, hooded by Lisa Cartwright. Viona DeConick, hooded by Lisa Cartwright.
Good job. Thank you. Well, the time has come for us to officially welcome you into the UC San Diego alumni family. Congratulations, Tritons. This concludes the recognition of our graduate degree recipients. The ceremony will now conclude with the recessional. Will the audience please remain seated until the recessional is completed? The graduates will recess up through the stands to my left, and once that is completed, then all family members will exit the arena. Thank you, everybody. Have a great, awesome evening. Congratulations.